Hi, my name is Riley Davis, and I'll be discussing a crisis communication campaign carried out by the Illinois University Administration following the on-campus shooting that occurred on February 24th, 2013. First, I want to start talking about what a definition of a crisis is. Freeo and al. In 2011 defined crisis as any situation that threatens the integrity or reputation of an organization, usually brought on by the adverse or negative media attention. While crises are sometimes unpredictable, they are not always unexpected. Thoughtful considerations of things that could go wrong can help control the situation before it reaches crisis status. Safeguards can also be placed to prevent a crisis from occurring at all. And crises may not always be purely a bad thing if an organization can handle it with poise and dignity. The reputation could actually be built that way. I want to talk about sense-making theory and how we can use it to learn from crises. The interpretive nature of understanding unprecedented events help us to regain and maintain order. This is a process that's kind of similar to the formative process and summative evaluation that we've learned in this class. A lack of sense-making results in a misunderstanding of the causes and results of crises. And sense-making also allows us to identify stakeholders that are affected by the crisis. These stakeholders may be employees, they may be outside organizations that are called on to help control a situation. As we will see, the crisis at Northern Illinois University required a lot of effort from a lot of different organizations. I just want to do a rundown of some of the events that occurred and the responses that were given by the faculty and the administration. At 3:03 p.m., a gunman entered the lecture hall, killing 5 students and injuring 18 more. It was later revealed that the gunman had mental disorders, but he was also a graduate student at the university. At 3:07 p.m., the police were first called and then a minute later responded. At 3:10, Melanie Magera, the Assistant Vice President of Public Affairs, was notified of the incident and then confirmed it with the police. She then immediately called the president of the university to make sure that it was okay to begin a crisis communication plan and put it into effect. Now, these first 9 minutes are important because we see that there are several different people involved in this process. There's the police who are called and who will investigate. There's the Assistant Vice President of Public Affairs, and then there's the President, and then there's also the reporter who found out about the story and also contacted Melanie Magera to make sure that this story was actually happening. On February 14th, at 3:20 p.m., the university then posted an alert on its website and sent messages to students and faculty to make them aware of the incident, and they also offered safety tips so that they can stay safe on campus until it is confirmed that the situation is under control. Now, sending out these messages did 2 things. First, it informed the students and faculty of the incident, and this allowed them to feel safe, and it made them feel like the university was looking out for them. Secondly, it alerted individuals inside and outside the university of the situation, which helped kind of dispel some rumors that might have occurred. And if these were not contained, they could make the situation a lot worse for the university. At 4:14 p.m., police decided that there was no more threat on the university campus, but the university wanted to be safe, and so they canceled classes for the rest of the evening and for the next day. At 4:15 p.m., crisis and student affairs staff arrive at hospitals to aid the victims and their families. This is important because it's the first university outreach to victims and their families to help show that the university is sympathetic towards them. At 4:39 p.m., the public affairs staff set up a media center at Outscaled Hall, the primary administrative office building. This is important, very important in fact, because it shows that in order for the university to maintain control of the story and appear cooperative, they needed to embrace the media scrutiny and work with reporters. So the university staff members collected media's reporters' names, contact information, obliged the request for comment when feasible, and staffers directed media to the university website for more information. At 5:30 p.m., the university held its first press conference. This information went over basic things that had been reported on, such as the number of deaths that were reported. The university identified law enforcement agencies that were involved so that reporters could go to specific agencies like the police or hospital staff for more information. Now, this press conference was streamed simultaneously on their website so that anyone can watch it while it's happening. At 7:30 p.m., just 2 hours later, a second press conference was held. Again, this was allowed to be streamed on the website, and it just kind of elaborated on some of the information that had been brought to light since the first conference. Now, because the university centralized a lot of this information on its website, they needed to make sure they can handle the traffic. And one thing they learned from Virginia Tech is that they needed more processing power to handle those requests, which they managed to get just couple of weeks before the incident took place. In the days following the incident, the university public affairs staff, they regularly updated the university website. They responded to messages from the media and concerned parents and students. They kept in contact with key stakeholders, wrote and disseminated public updates, monitored news coverage and kept track of social media blogs, and corresponded daily with their peers at Virginia Tech to get more information and some more advice as things kind of unravel, as kind of things unfolded. Again, this is in part to control the story, stay in good graces with the media, and keep faculty, staff, students, and their families, and the general public informed about what's going on campus. The university provided grief counseling for students, faculty and staff who are affected by this event. There's increased security placed on campuses in classrooms as soon as they were resumed. And NIU also announced plans to build a memorial at the site of the incident. And all these kind of things were meant to make students feel relaxed on campus, made them help them get back into more of a routine. And then the university also encouraged students and faculty themselves to hold their own memorial services that they felt was appropriate so they could heal, so that the victims could be honored, and so forth. NIU's Division of Student Affairs appointed staff liaisons for each victim's families, and the Office of Support and Advocacy provided resources for students, faculty, and staff who were directly affected by the incident. These resources include academic and therapeutic counseling, as well as legal services to help victims and families collect compensation results from the incident. Outcomes. NIU's Board of Trustees then appointed a task force to examine the university's response to the crisis. And this was again meant to kind of keep track of how the communication process went and kind of find where their strengths were, where their weaknesses were, and how they could build off of that. Text message alert systems were implemented at NIU, and they were also implemented at other universities across the U.S. University administrators should strengthen relationships they have with important groups so that they can strategize and plan their crises better for future instances if they happen to occur. Nationwide discussion of mental health and disorders and violence prevention were revived. And now on to the campaign assessment. NIU prepared through strategic planning and designation of responsibilities. They learned a lot from Virginia Tech's crisis program. NIU's media relations allowed for control of the developing story and media goodwill, and they kept students and faculty and public figures informed. NIU's attention and rendered services to victims and their families revealed sympathy and made the university look like they weren't at fault. Again, they wanted to make sure that they weren't the bad guys in the situation. They wanted to show that they were supporting their students and their faculty and their staff. And NIU's own evaluations will do well to inform future campaigns that deal with crises. Thank you.